Welcome back to House of Footy, guys. We are going to finish off part two of our two-part series for the round of 16 preview with Morocco taking on Spain. Morocco finished first in Group F, the group with obviously Canada, Croatia, and Belgium. 2 wins and a draw, and Spain finished second in Group E with one win, one tie, and now Morocco, have been silently impressive in this sort of World Cup campaign so far. Spain, they are expected as to be one of the stronger sides as well. So I think this game might be quite fun if it opens up. But Mac, I guess let me hear your thoughts on this game.
So I think this will be very interesting. I think this game will be like a microcosm of how both teams have done so far in the tournament. In terms of Spain, they've been dominant in possession. They've had one phenomenal game in terms of beating Costa Rica. Did well against Germany, and of course, kind of dropped the ball against Japan. But have really stuck to their play style. Morocco, on the other side, even though they did finish first in their group, probably weren't the best quality team to be able to make it out of that group. But what they did do well is they were very, very clinical. I think in total between all 3 games, they only had expected goals of 1.35, whereas they scored 4 goals. So they, in their few opportunities that they were on the counter, they did well. In the group stage, they only averaged like 36% possession between all 3 games, and that is going to be dramatically lower this game. So they have done well in the few opportunities that they've had thus far. I'm skeptical if that will continue against the Spanish team, but I think this game, I would be surprised in terms of how it maps out, how we think it will go in terms of the flow of the game, how it's played. I think this, if it's not Spain dominating the ball, Morocco just barely trying to score on a counter, I think if it's anything but that, I'll be absolutely shocked. I think it's very safe to say that's how the game will go out. But Morocco, at least thus far, and those few opportunities have done well. We'll see if that continues.
Okay, same question for you, Gio. Do you give Morocco much of a chance in this fixture?
I do give them a chance, but it has to be, everything almost has to go in their favor. And I think the most important thing is it is going to be a very open game, I think. And the only way Morocco is going to be successful is if they score first. Spain has shown that, again, Mac mentioned it in a previous recording of ours, that Spain doesn't really play all that well down. They don't look all that good on the ball. It looks like they start to rush a lot, and then their creativity almost kind of like hits a mental roadblock. And yeah, it's going to be very important for Spain to use how Morocco play, and that's very fast, very open. They want to send balls long. Kind of use that play style to their advantage, and use their technical ability to really get the ball around and to score a couple of easy ones early. And then again, I think the game will open up even more, and that will again play in Spain's favor. So yeah, I think those are two key very important things to note about this game.
For sure. I saw this on Twitter, so don't quote me if it's incorrect. But I saw someone say that Lukaku got more XG in that game against Croatia, their final game, than Morocco did in their whole sort of 3 group games. So that's obviously tells us something. Obviously, Lukaku had a stinker of a game.
Lukaku shit, and
fair.
Morocco are likely to score a lot of goals.
Exactly, but yeah. On the flip side, though, Mac, leads the Spanish team with 3 goals, 2 of them coming off of the bench. Honestly, Morata has to be, I think, their go-to striker, and so I think he's gonna be looking at trying to extend that goal scoring form for them. Obviously, you have the likes of Pedri and Gavi in midfield. Gets Rodri's playing as for Spain, so I don't expect much to change. I guess key matchups for you, Mac. Any specific players stand out for you?
For me, you highlighted would be Morata, because he did start the last game, but that's the game that they lost. So I'll be interested to see if he come off the bench because they started Asensio at striker for the first 2 games. I know Morata was ill, but I think he's going to be a very key player for them, given that he's probably their only natural number 9, and he consistently gets booed by the Spanish fans for his performance as well. So he's an interesting player in that manner, but he does have quality. So I think for Spain to do well, he'll have to perform at a very, very high level. But if you were to take that away, I think the wingers on either side of Morata, because he gets most of the questions in terms of if they don't play well, he gets a lot of the blame. But like Dani Olmo, and then on the right side they start. Who's they start on the other winger? It's Dani Olmo. Ansu Fati comes off the bench. He performed well against Japan. Don't know why he
Ferran Torres.
Ferran Torres, yes. I think those two
Right.
need to be better in terms of a creative sense, because we know what we're going to get out of Busquets. It's been the same thing for like my lifetime. I don't remember there not to be Busquets playing this exact same way. And Gavi and Pedri are going to be quality. But the question will be is that front 3, and more so for me, the wingers, are they going to exploit Morocco's back line and hopefully then themselves create opportunities instead of just relying on the creative sense of the other players beside them.
One of the I think one of the scorers for Morocco, and Nazir, I think he plays for. Last time I checked, he plays for Sevilla in the Spanish league, so he's going to be very familiar with that back for Spain. But on the flip side, I think the way that Morocco will look to get sort of joy out of this Spanish team, as well as apart from really just trying to counterattack them, is Hakimi and Mazraoui at their wide back. That's really, I think, finding themselves in those overlapping runs when Spain push numbers up will be really important to sort of their approach to this game. Though, Makinota here, Morocco averaged 36.3% possession through their 3 group stage games. So the chances of them really going on the overlap on possession doesn't sound as much for against a possession dominant team like Spain. So odds to advance, we got Morocco at positive 275 and Spain at negative 450. So Gio, again, question about goal, over or under 2.5? What do you think?
Over.
Ooh, Spain goal fest or even split?
I think it's gonna be pretty. I think it'll be if Spain wins, Spain's winning by 2. I think it'll be around a 4-2 victory for Spain.
Okay, Mac.
Yeah, I don't see Morocco scoring 2 goals. I don't think they score. I'll be honest with you, because the games that they did score against Belgium, all agree, probably the most disappointing team, and Canada in the opening 20 minutes where they had their game plan horribly wrong. So I don't see Morocco scoring. I don't see Morocco winning. I don't see Morocco even having a chance, in my opinion. I think this is one of the few ones, even though the odds have it a little bit closer, I think it should be further away. In terms of over 2.5 goals, I'll go under. I'll go Spain wins 2-0. They get 2 goals in the first half and just kill the game from there and don't care about scoring.
Spain, if they get on the lead, yeah, I think they'll kill it. Even though they scored 7 against Costa Rica, I don't see them replicating that. So, I mean, who knows? If they do go down though, and they're gonna have to chase, it might open up. So obviously, we'll keep an eye on that, and then keep you guys covered on that. So let's move on to the last game taking place for the round 16. Portugal taking on Switzerland. Portugal finished first in the group H with 2 wins and a loss. Switzerland finished second in Group G with 2 wins and a loss as well. This game, I actually think, and this is my hot take, this is the most even matchup for the round of 16. And honestly, if I'm Portugal, I would be worried about the Switzerland team. They do have, very much like Croatia, they do have experienced players in there, Xhaka, Agolo, even Shaqiri, and they have a decent backline, and they have a decent keeper there. So, Switzerland overall have been a decent tournament side, and so with Portugal, I don't think they should take them lightly on that day. So, Gio, Portugal, Switzerland, let me hear your thoughts on this game.
I do worry a little bit for Portugal because Switzerland's a team who's not scared of taking shots from wherever they can possibly take a shot, especially that little guy named Jerdan Shaqiri, who who loves a go with his left foot, and I don't think uh, Diogo Costa has really faced all that much in terms of difficulty, and so that's going to be one thing to look out for. And then another thing is their backline hasn't faced quite as physical as a striker as I think Mbolo, who has quite a bit of size on him, and I think adds a lot of physicality to a backline who, again, really hasn't done much or really hasn't had to face much in terms of a physical striker. So that's gonna worry me a little about Portugal. But in terms of them being able to defend, the quality going forward from the mid up, I think Portugal will edge this game. But their defense again does worry me, and their goaltending does worry me quite a bit actually.
Okay, Mac, let me hear your thoughts.
So I love your take. I love your take. I want to believe in it. I want to cherish it. I want to hold it in my heart. I want to take it to bed and sleep. It's beautiful. However, I don't see it to that degree. I think Switzerland can come out and have a good performance. I think it'll be the most interesting matchup for me is in that midfield battle. Portugal thus far, when they've scored their goals, it's been more so on the break when Bruno or Bernardo Silva, those two especially, are linking play and dominating on the ball and trying to thread balls through to either like a Joao Felix or Ronaldo thus far, who, let's be honest, hasn't looked the greatest. So, and he's due for having a good performance here. So I think that's where the game could be won and lost. So that might be a little bit too much ask from Ruler and Xhaka, who both aren't the fleetest of foot to be able to keep up with Bernardo Silva, Bruno Fernandes. So I think that's where the match could be won and lost. I edge Portugal here in terms of I think they'll kind of just barely skip over the line, but I think this game will be much closer than people think. And probably, like I know I talked about earlier, if there would be an upset, it'll be a different matchup. But this would be second for me. I think Switzerland do have a chance, especially because Mbolo, he's already had 2 goals so far this tournament. He's leading them in goals and missed a sitter in the last game against Serbia. So in all fairness, he should be in good form and looking at opportunity where to get at a back line that's had heavy rotation because they played Ruben Diaz, which is arguably their best center half, but they played Pepe, who's a million years old, and then the 18 year, I think he's 18, Antonio Silva, he's played a couple minutes as well. He started the last game. So I think no matter which pairing of center halves that they line up, I think Mbolo will be like, you know what, I can feast on at least one of them. So I think that they do have a good shot to be able to get by.
Yeah, I really was impressed with Mbolo and his hold-up play, which I think is going to be very, very important for Switzerland to sort of get any joy out of sort of Portugal losing possession. But on the flip side, Portugal do have a lot of quality. Bruno just coming off of that game, their second game in the group with the 2 goals. Gio, some players to look out for I guess Portugal and Switzerland for this game. What do you think? Who's going to be the game decider for you?
I think you kind of almost live and die by how well Bruno is playing. I think he's going to be the main focal point in terms of threading balls through, stopping the run of play in terms of Switzerland, finding that rhythm. I think it's going to be huge for him because we talked about it when we talk about him missing some Man U games and his disruption of flow for his opponents. When they start gaining some rhythm, he tends to take a pesky foul and sort of just slows everything down a bit. So I think, it's going to come down to how great of a performance he has. Obviously, thus far he's had 2 assists and 2 goals, which again is great to see, and I think everybody benefits from him. Again, I think we'll see a very similar lineup. We'll see kind of Leo come off the bench, kind of be that spark plug. But yeah, the main guy we're looking here is in fact Bruno Fernandes.
Fair. I noted here that in the last game, Switzerland, they didn't start Jan Sommer. I think I'm just reading here that he was out with illness. Started Kobo instead, but I think obviously Jan Sommer has been a great professional for that Swiss side, and he's going to be very much needed to stop the likes of obviously Bruno, Bernardo Silva, Ronaldo, Leao, all of the talent that Portugal have up front. What chance do you really sort of give Switzerland, and how do you think they should approach this game, Mac, for you?
Like I said earlier, I think they do have a good chance in terms of coming out. I think what they'll have to make sure they do is, like I said, stop that midfield, make sure that they win their battles out wide on the wide backs, because both of them are going to be aggressive. And if they're able to flip and get in behind and Bolo on either one of those sides going at the weaker center half, that's probably their best bet. And then in conjunction, of course, which always comes down to tournament set pieces. If they're able to create an opportunity from there, they've scored. That's where actually Mbolo missed an opportunity to be able to kind of get his third goal for the tournament thus far. Was offset pieces, and they're a big, strong physical team with quality deliverers into the box. Like Shaqiri, yes, he's a little older, but he can still put a ball from a corner, from a free kick, in a good position to be able to latch on. I think the interesting part will be is that if the game does go, let's say Portugal gets an early goal, I don't see them being in a position where they're going to comfortably sit and allow kind of kill off the game. That's not their mentality. They'll try to continue to chase. So if Switzerland can keep their heads, even if they do go down, I think they'll still have a good path to be able to get back into a game, because there is no, I don't see Portugal having like a 78 pass possession, just trying to keep the ball like Spain, to be able to slow things down and allow the game to be able to be killed off. I think they'll just continue to try to attack. So that will always give an opportunity for Switzerland to get back into a game. So even if they may not score first, I still think they have a way out.
Yeah, I mean, I was particularly, and we've been crying out about this, Gio, game management for Portugal. So if they do go ahead first in this game and try to kill the game, and their game that took place against who was it? I think it was Uruguay, and they added players likes of Palhinha, Matheus Nunes to sort of shore up that midfield once they got the lead. I think the fact that they do have players that can come in and do that is a big plus for Portugal. So obviously, that with sort of their potent attack means they are favorites. Portugal are negative 250 for this game. Switzerland are positive 165. But I guess the question for you, Gio, again, over under 2.5 goals for this game. What do you predict?
I would have to say over, because I think it'll end in a 2-1. So naturally, 3 is bigger than 2.5. But I don't think it's going to be a very tight game. I think it's not going to be lopsided, because the game sheet will tell you, or things of that nature. I just think Portugal have still haven't really proved that they're a dominant side. I mean, they're very good on paper. They have a lot of depth, but they really just haven't proven that teams are going to go in there and fear them for 90 minutes. And that hasn't been the case. Even, the game against Ghana, they played a different style than they have all qualifiers and everything like that. They try to play a more possessive game and try to kill the game in the midfield, which doesn't look like Portugal. So, it's going to be a close game. So, again, I go back to Shaqiri and Mbolo, and even Xhaka for that matter. Those really difference makers for Switzerland to possibly have a big game in terms of the score sheet as well.
Okay, same question to you, Mac.
Under, I think it 1-1, and I think this goes to extra time, maybe pens. That's my call.
Ooh. Oh, that's drama. That's drama for sure. Obviously, we'll be covering that. I just quickly want to touch on that. Obviously, we're talking about Group H, and we did mention South Korea. Uruguay, Ghana did take place as well, which was a very, very entertaining game. Mac, I know you think I'm going to go a different way, but I'm actually looking to talk about, I think, maybe one of the first times I've seen a potential manager change while the World Cup is happening. And reports are that Uruguay are parting ways with their current manager and are interested in signing Marcelo Bielsa as a replacement. So I just wanted to bring it up, just to hear maybe your thoughts on how this could change for Uruguay, because obviously they were winning that game, but with your South Korea coming back late on against Portugal, they were out, and it looks like Suarez is now gone from international football as well as likely club football as well. So, Mac, I guess give us your thoughts on Marcelo Bielsa potentially taking over Uruguay.
I think this is only good news for the Darwin Núñez fans out there. My guy's going to have him training. You're going to be playing defensive mid. You're going to get 1,000,000 touches on the ball. Let's do it. Let's go. That's the Bielsa way. So it's funny. You gotta love Bielsa, the projects that he picks. I wonder how he gets to the conclusion of why he should go to a certain job, because I feel like he has a lot of jobs lined up that he could do if he just wanted to.
Yeah.
He just wants. He's on side quests. I think that's the way that we can phrase it right now. And this is definitely a very interesting one. But they do need to have a big turnover in terms of their team, because a lot of the players that have been not just. I think we're talking about players back from the 2010 World Cup, like Cavani, Suarez, Godin. They're probably all done. But they do have some younger players that have quality. Bentancur. I know Gio is gonna hit me if I don't say Valverde. So they have good quality, and Bielsa is an interesting choice and a fun choice if not a chaotic one. But as a neutral, I'd love to see it.
Of course, and Gio, lastly, about Ghana. Obviously, they did lose in a game where they needed to win. But is it a little sweeter that they brought down Uruguay with them in this matchup? What do you think?
I mean, I think they'd be very disappointed. Obviously, your rivals didn't make it either, but you gotta want more for yourself. That shouldn't be a determining factor for a good World Cup or a successful World Cup. You should want to win every single game possible, and I just don't think they really showed up in that sense, and it showed in terms of just the quality of play, in terms of Uruguay being a footballing nation and compared to Ghana being a footballing nation. I think that they have a lot of good young talent, and again, once the older generation kind of fades out, particularly the Ayew brothers stop playing football.
They have photos on somebody. They have documents.
Yeah, no, they have to have photos. They have to have photos.
On Vieira, Palace, on somebody in charge of something.
Yeah, that's not okay. So they need to stop playing and just let the younger stars shine. And hopefully, Callum Hudson-Odoi, decides to change his allegiance and joins that side as well. And they'll have a pretty good attacking side, really. But yeah, I think whoever joins that project next should see it as good turning point, and it's a good time to jump into the project because again, a lot of the older generation players are, this is going to be their final run. Now that it's over, you gotta, kind of a clean slate.
Fair. Okay, well, we'll definitely see how respective teams do in their bid to sort of qualify for their, I guess, next continental tournaments. So we'll definitely keep an eye on that. But this concludes our podcast for today. If you like what you heard, please like and subscribe to us on our social medias. Find us, our handle is @houseof_footy. If you have any comments, suggestions, or general banter, feel free to get in touch with us as well. Our email is houseoffooty@hotmail.com. The next time you hear from us will likely be Wednesday when we review the round of 16 games for the FIFA 2022 World Cup. And on that note, thank you, Mac, for joining us.
Messi has scored. Life is good.
Thank you, Gio.
I needed them to score 2 more for the over, so they better not fuck this one up.
And thank you guys for listening. We'll be back soon. Peace out.